Welcome back. This is the second video for project overview. Now I will explain you that how we created an entity and basically how we are going to use that entity. Basically, if you have to create an API or you have to modify an API, what are the processes that you will follow? Okay, so this is the main folder, which includes the major APIs for the exponential project. You can go to the server.js. You can look that we have like specific /API route. Okay, so over here you can see like this basically redirects to routes, and these are the routes. Okay, so here we have like specific middlewares also for like auth service like user access and verify login, etc, etc. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you an example. Okay, overall you can see like this is /auth. Okay, so if we go to the /auth route, and here are like two specific routes: post. First is for login. Okay, uh, basic stuff. After each particular route, we have to navigate to the controllers. Okay, overall, in the controllers you can see that the auth controller is in the controllers and /auth. Here is the controller file. Here we basically validates the input that we get from the front end. You can see there is a validation folder where here we use GUI. Okay, so we basically check that that the correct data is sent through the front end. This is like an important step to basically check all the data so that we can have consistency over the project. Okay, so now first of all we pass API. This is for just storing the API, etc, etc. Like I'm not gonna explain you like each and every thing what we do, like it's self-explanatory. The second step is validation. So here we validated the input, and if there is any validation error, we basically just exits from the API, and we basically give them validation error. So we already have specific error types which we described for the overall project, which we gonna use in the entire project. For like there are a lot of common type of errors. For example, wrong validation. Okay, here you can see like we used validation error, so we just do not want to write a message every time. You can basically have a common file, and you can edit or update the message from that particular file. Now you can see from the controller we navigates to the services. Okay, so basically we will go to the auth service. We can see that after the controllers here is the service. In the auth service, this is a class basically, and this class consists of functions. Okay, so you can see here is this login function. Okay, like basic stuff. So in the in the login function, basically we just pass the data and will return whatever the response will be according to the input data, and our authentication will work. Like in the auth controller or in the auth service, we don't have a specific thing that I want to tell you, but we can check like another service. For example, I guess okay, not here. I just want to show you the controllers that we created. Okay, so no worries. I will explain you in the entity part. Okay, now basically we can see what are the entities. If we'll go to the entity, you can see there is this user entity. Okay, so I mean you can consider an entity is basically all the things that you need to do about a specific small building block. For example, a user, if you want to you know uh, kind of do any particular expression or an action for a particular user, for example like set user ID, etc, etc. Basically you just create a object of an entity, and you can use that particular object in the whole service. Okay, for example, your service needs to do multiple queries. You will just initialize the entity as an object once, and you can perform all the actions uh, what this will do is, when you initialize that particular entity, like you did one query, for example, for that entity you fetched its data, and what you can do is, like, in that particular query, that object basically stored that data, so the next time when you query for like another property, you have that particular data for that particular service, and you basically do not need to query it twice or thrice. It will basically reduce the API response time, and you will have faster queries overall. Okay, so like this was just an overview. You can read like any entity file, it's very easy and very self-explanatory. Okay, we have like entity for like small things. So this was like the basic overview of how you can create an entity or like a class, I mean a service or a controller. What How you have to handle validations. You just have to use JOI and just add the validations for the inputs that you will get through the body. Okay, so see you next.